Water may be something you take for granted, but in the coming decades, it seems it's likely to become more precious even than any fuel, potentially causing regional and global conflicts. That's according to the UN. And here is why. Of all the water covering planet Earth, just over 2% of it is actually fresh water. Around a fifth of the global population are currently under water stress, with their country's underground reserves already being severely depleted. And this figure is dramatically rising, with almost 1/3 of the world's population predicted to be hit by critical shortages over the next decade. Well, demand for fresh water is soaring as global consumption expands in line with population growth, and a combination of overcrowding, pollution, poor resource management and climate change will bring major security threats, concerns that have been raised by the UN Secretary-General. Ban Ki-moon has also warned that water scarcity could cause new conflicts to break out in the foreseeable future. But as RT's Gayane Chichakyan reports now, this is already starting to happen.
A U.S. intelligence report predicts that in less than 10 years, water could become a cause and a weapon of war, particularly in the Middle East and North Africa. But it seems that time has already come. Example, Syria.
Very severe drought started in the region around 2008. It continued for many years, and it led to decreases in agricultural production. It led to increased unemployment, the migration of large numbers of people from the rural areas of Syria into the cities, and growing unrest, which contributed to the conflict.
Islamist militants in Syria have used water as a tool in the fight against the Assad government when they targeted pumping stations in Aleppo last month, leaving 2 million people without drinking water. In Libya, the conflict has led to the disruption of the water supply system, which the late Colonel Gaddafi had spent more than $20 billion to build. French companies are now said to be showing interest in privatization of Libya's public water system. After the U.S. invaded Iraq, it secured one of its largest corporations, Brechtel, with a contract to repair the country's water supply. The same Brechtel had been forced out of Bolivia after fierce public protests broke out over its price hikes for water. The company went into the country thanks to the World Bank. The organization said it would only give Bolivia development aid if the public water system was privatized. Similar conditions are forced on many other countries seeking help.
The trend toward privatization of water is a difficult one and a very controversial one, and is likely to provoke more tensions around the world if it continues.
According to the Center for Public Integrity, Western nations stand to make up to $1 trillion from privatizing, purifying, and distributing water in the Middle East and North Africa, where water often costs more than oil.
100 years from now, we're going to have to pay incredibly high prices for water. Wars are going to be fought for water.
Meanwhile, more than 1.2 billion people in the world don't have access to clean water. The UN predicts it will get worse. Many say water will become the oil of the 21st century, and whoever controls water will have an enormous influence over any country's growth and prosperity. And it seems the race for the control of water is on. In Washington, I'm Chichakyan, RT.